Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Bon Voyage, and we're starting up again with 80 days. I kind of forgot where we are, but I don't think we were doing too bad. So, yeah, I'm excited. Let us begin. What is this? We're in Muscat. Depart? I don't know what we're doing. Where did I say we were going to go? We're going to go... Negotiate. The criminals. Let's see. No charge. Tomorrow. Great. Alright. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. we leave. But for today, we relax. We enjoy ourselves out here in the wilderness. Hey, hello, Jared. How's your day been going, man? I'll go for some rock. I mean, you can't go wrong. He's always good. Alright, that should fix it. Yeah, that seems a little... How does that sound? The only thing I hate about 80 days is that it constantly disappears on me if I click off of the regular screen. Wow, there's a lot of just random stuff I have. I'm just gonna get the shortbread because shortbread's always useful. Who doesn't like candy? Oh, all right then. Let's sleep. Oh, that's right. I forgot. My boss is very much losing a majority of his health. Before I go to bed, I attend Monsieur Fogg, help the kitchen staff, engage in another guest conversation. Look, he'll do. He'll be fine. Before going to bed, I engaged another guest in conversation to learn what I could, but came away with nothing but snippets of local gossip. To Dubravka. Oh, it's fine. We'll hold some more space. Airship Gondiva. Can you just imagine being on an actual airship? I would be so happy. The Gondiva was a distinctive little airship, painted bright red and covered in hundreds of dented golden bosses, with a flag painted with a flying monkey garlanded with flowers fluttering from its mass. Captain Ballard matched his ship, wearing a heavily embroidered red coat and turban, with a jewel-hilted cutlass slung over his white dhoti. Perfect. This seems extremely gaudy, and I'm all for it. A fine ensemble, and I am not ashamed to admit I envied it. Regardless, the ship, however, Monsieur Fogg's lips thinned slightly in distaste, which I could not fathom. This was stuff of penny dreadfuls and adventure stories. Except he's angry at me. Alright, Fogg. What What a jerk. Are you playing any games right now, Jared? Are you playing a console, PC? What do you got? We shall converse. Greetings, Captain. Why Passepartout? Far from Davgra. Should probably look out. Let's go to Bombay? Absolutely. Alright, Bombay to Joa? I believe so. One can travel by Sabakar Atmanik from Bombay to Nova Goa. Now anyway, ever consider the pearl trade? Sure, yes. Money's always good. Seems like a wonderful profitable line. It is. It's done me proud. At least. Right now. Seems happy. I'd Nova Goa. So I do not follow. Nova Goa to... I don't want to quit this. Can I leave the language thingy and like go to... It was only a day's journey to Davgra. We dined with the captain in the evening. Ah. Do I get regaled by the captain, or do I speak to the captain's wife? I'm gonna go with... The captain regaled us, as with a fanciful tale of how he once saw a giant narwhal in the Arabian Sea, fired a pistol into its eye until we were suddenly interrupted by a siren's wail. Is it serious? I demanded, leaping to my feet. The captain stood up also. We are being pursued, he informed us with grimly. I'm sorry, gentlemen, but our journey may take a little bit longer than anticipated. Ooh, interesting. What do we have here? Greetings, madam. Good man, Passepartout. Let's go to Davga. Davga to Rub al Khali. Is it possible to go from Davga to Rub al Khali? Heard there is neither a hotel nor market in Rub al Khali. Bank or hotel? I'm not okay with that. She's at home. No, some buyers will pay very well for evening jackets from Chittagong. No, is it the pearl trade? No, I haven't. I guess I have not. I cannot understand, but very well. Alright. Stone Town. Probably could pick up rhino horns in Stone Town that would sell well for a fortune in Colombo. Probably. Check it out at some point. PC, Banner Saga 2, and Inquisition Martyr. Board game is Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Ooh, that is awesome. I have yet to, like, try out the Legacy season. That sounds pretty cool. I've played Pandemic for a little while, but when's the last time I got my board game put together? I think it's been about 3 months now, and it's a little sad because right now we're all moving away. We have a lot of our friends disappearing at the moment, so it's been a little hard. But Banner Saga 2, like, that's one of the ones I've wanted to play, but I've yet to be able to check it out. How far are you into it? How do you feel about it? Okay. Probably put some bios. Ooh, they're all set. Most generous. Hello, Grim. How have you been? What are you doing? I'm told that Rub al Khali means empty quarter. What do you mean by that? Oh, I don't. Oh, let's go to Khartoum. Yes, I wish I knew, but you can pick up an engine oil in Khartoum and sell it very profitable in Madras. Colombo? No idea. Colombo has a very advanced tram system. Alright, well that's very nice. I feel like I've learned quite a bit on our adventure here. How you doing, Grim? How you enjoying your day or night, wherever you are in part of the world? In the morning light, Monsieur Fogg discovered that our pursuer was a girderless Parseval-type British naval airship, which changed his altitude to the situation. It appears the Gandiva acts against the British interest, he said, as I heated the water for his morning shave. We have a duty to aid Her Majesty's Navy. I mean, to be honest with you, my character's really French, and I wish I could do a French accent. Honestly, I cannot, so I will not destroy it. But he's English, and I do work for him, and I do like money, so I guess he's kind of correct. We cannot ignore our moral obligation because it would be inconvenient. You propose that we, that is I, sabotage the Gandiva. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. We sat at the captain's table. The dude, Monsieur Fogg, looked coolly disapproving, and I reminded him of our obligation. His silence was deafening and restraint, and I hoped I would not have cause to regret refusing my master's orders. I could hear Captain Balaram's curses even from our berth, and went forward to observe the chase, because I can't do anything about that. Yes, it's not the greatest. It's really not the greatest. The Percival was getting steadily on us, her black envelope reflecting darkly on the calm seas. Captain Balaram's wife was shouting, reading to her husband at the helm. I suggested, I maneuver because I prefer not to have to do this for too long, which I had to read, which I'd read in a recent novel, which involved stalling the engines as a ruse and speeding away when the pursuer slowed to board. He then thumped me on the back. You must face... I can't even do that accent right now. You must face life with equanimity. That is that of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, there we go. As teaches us. Let us see which one is our fate today. And with that, he stalled the engines. I will not tell you of the intervening, sweating, soaked hours. That made me want to cry. They were at once dulled and utterly dull. We arrived at the holy India city of Varka, only a day late, and with effusive thanks of the daring Captain Balaram and his wife. Thanks, Cap. You did good. I was scared for a while. The natural pearl could earn us I do have a pearl that sells for about 6 grand in Madras, so we're gonna not do that. A shaving kit. I have no use for shaving. I like my beard. A long neck stringed instrument with a bell-shaped base. Worth 5 grand in Canton. Field glasses for the air traveler. Cold compress. As for Pandemic Legacy, I know the feeling. We started the campaign March 2016. We're barely 60% done. That sounds amazing. That sounds awesome. And about 75 or 70% into it, it picks up right from where Banner Saga 1 leaves off. It improves the combat in every way, but it's been a while since you played Banner 1, so yeah, it's probably gonna destroy me. I have to reset for a little while. And I'm sorry to hear that, Grim. I hope your headache gets a little bit better as you chill along with us and listen to my terrible commentary on this game. But yeah, no, I'm really happy to say, I hope you enjoy. I don't know if I want to get any of this right now. No, I don't. I feel like I've spent enough money in this part of the world, and we're killing time, so I must figure out where we go. I must plan. Explore for the day. The hotel. To 24 games, but still. 12 to 24 games. I'm all for that. I'm down for that. I gotta check it out. I gotta figure out a new group of friends to start playing with. I'm thinking about Roll20. We'll see how that goes. One of our 4 holiest Hindu cities, Varka was unsurprisingly dominated by the Varkadish Temple, 2 limestone peaks and sculpted pillars. Monsieur Fogg brushed aside thousands of years of history and culture with a glance, and instead insisted we pay a visit to the British resident. Fine, you miss home, sir. I perfectly understand. It was always useful to pay attention to the niceties of colonial bureaucracy in foreign climes. The resident himself was a jolly, easygoing old colonel, short and stout. "You're like Baroda," he pronounced. "Maharaja's a steady sort. I think of a bit young. Just what we need after all the excitement." "The excitement?" I injected, without thinking. The resident's affable mask slipped somewhat as he regarded me. "Valets, after all, do not address colonels so cavalierly." I mean, the necessities of travel, no doubt loosened by adherence to social niceties, and I lowered my gaze to my shoes. The resident cleared his throat and pointed before continuing. "The late Maharaja was a bit of a tyrant. You know, the sword had a carpet made entirely of pearls, commissions a set of solid gold cannon." He shrugged minutely, but then he attempted to poison one of my predecessors with arsenic. Really not the done thing at all. That's a weird way to say that. Yeah, that's my feeling on Roll20. It's okay, but I can never really get used to it. We'll see. I've yet to get into a game, so it's not the best. That is correct. This is my first playthrough, so I know nothing about this game. I got it through a Humble Bundle, and Bon Voyage is pretty much dedicated to me finding games that involve exploring the world, because when I'm not here, I am... I don't know if I should say my day job. No, I've said it before. I work in film, so I get distracted, and if I'm not on set, I have like a very strong passion for travel. And since I can't go anywhere right now, since I'm back in school and taking a break from film, I've been working on playing as many games that involve world travel and ridiculousness as much as possible. How many times have you played through the game, Grim? Ah, copy. The resident cleared his throat. The very late Maharaja. Oh, that's right. I could not believe his calmness. He had the peculiar, I can't say that word ever, English knack of making dramatic stories and sounding hopelessly banal. He waved away our expression of shock. We packed him off, as you can imagine, and the new Maharaja, shaping up rather well, he stood, and shook Monsieur Fogg's hand. "Good luck on your travels. If you run into any trouble, you can send me word. I'm native born, and I know everyone in the racket." We thanked him with all due courtesy and departed to Varka soon after. Our relationship is slightly better, and my character is now suave, for saying hello and then looking at my shoes. Yeah, that's a great choice. I'll go with that. Let us explore. I browsed around, my ears open, investigating the various ways in which we might continue. Can we depart somewhere? Fine. Let us leave. I'm a little worried, but we'll see how this goes. Ooh, yes. I am all for that. Definitely do need a character traits list or table. We found an eccentric old lady fooling around with a gyrocopter near the shoreline. "Is your craft for hire?" I asked. "You gentlemen look like a good ballast." She agreed. "Get in." Throughout his world, and we shuddered upward into the sky. This guy really likes having his shoes shine. I did not talk to our pilot as she flew. It appears she needed her full concentration on the controls to operate the craft. We banked left. Swerved right. And all but barrel rolled about the chopper. Chopping, glistening, and Indian Ocean. Yeah, links should be fine. Let me try send it up. If not, I'll give you, I don't know what the command is to give you abilities to link, but I think links are okay in our chat. I haven't seen a problem with it so far. What a way to live. Not since leaving my time in the circus have I felt something so close to life as a bird. The false passport could earn us well here. I have the complete lawless set though, so that's not. I'm not gonna do that. I like having that. No field glass. Ooh, Singapore. I'm going to Singapore anytime soon. I'm sorry, Shortbread, but I'm going to sell you. Because Southern Hemisphere. Alright, I think that'll be good. I see nothing else of my interest. New routes discovered. Colombo.
Ooh, that looks fun.
Latveria. Your character is defined by two hidden skills, stats, and style. Ooh, I'll check this out. Okay, alright. Oh, okay, this is super cool. What up? Welcome back, Grim. Right now, Jared just sent me the link to check out what happens when you have... when you're suave and slick and all those other things. Because honestly, I had no idea what they meant. And I didn't know they give you, like, cool little things like different dialogue stuff. So I am all for that. Superior. Unpredictable. Brilliant. I'm definitely gonna have to check this out more.
Well, let's see where it takes us so far. Okay.
Bombay. Great, that'll work fine with me. Oh, that's right. Grim, how many times have you gone through this game? Because it's cool, because there's so many people that like popped in randomly and been like, I love this game. It's a great game to play on your phone. And then I wanted to get it on my phone. Alright, that'll be tomorrow. That'll give me time to do some exploring or sleep. Okay, we'll go with sleep. Monsieur Fogg cared not a straw for the wonders of Bombay, but gave me a few hours of leisure as he set out to his evening paper. I ended up wheezing and puffing my way up Malabar Hill, the highest point in South Bombay. I paused at the top. Ooh, do I care about the city or the bay? I mean, they've seen a lot of just random sea stuff, so I think he'd look towards the city this time. I paused at the top to look towards the city. I could see the gas lamps along the Queen's Necklace of Marine Drive being lit one by one in preparation for the evening, and palm trees waving in the salt-scented breeze. Catching my breath, I found my steps irresistibly drawn towards the Biganga Temple. That'll work. The Biganga Temple will work. The temple's tower was reflected serenely in the water of the reservoir, fed by an underground spring said to come from the Ganges. Ooh. I don't know if I want to walk into a temple or swim in the water. I'll enter the temple. I entered the temple, fascinated by the relief carvings of gods and goddesses which covered the entire Gopuran. One of the priests spotted me and issued a great pain cry of alarm. I let loose my own shout. In response, entirely instinctual reaction which seemed to baffle him somewhat. Alas, the priest's cry drew the attention of his fellows and other temple-goers, all of whom descended upon me in a pack. They took my shoes and hat and ejected me from the temple complex rather than zealous roughness. With rather zealous roughness. Wait, what? Wait, my shoes, my hat! What? No Hindus are allowed in the temple, she declared, especially with their shoes on. I did not know anything. Where do you think you are, Goa? She demanded, her hand on her hip. This is not Paris. This is Bombay. Bother yourself to learn the difference. I handed her back her handkerchief with thanks. Duly chastened, I'm sorry. That was a giant mistake. I resolved to be more mindful of the local customs, for chanced losing more than my shoes with ignorance. I returned to my master barefoot and rather ashamed. I hoped this will not happen again, said Master coldly. That was to be the last word on Bombay, gateway to the jewel in the crown of the British Empire, except for... And what, pray, has happened to your shoes? Oh, so the route is on YouTube, huh? I gotta check that out. Probably do that. Okay, leave the game. I'll do it. I'll have to check out some of the other run-throughs of this game, because I purely chose it because it's been sitting in my library and it involves travel, and it gives me a reason to work on. I mean, yeah, it's true. Everything's on YouTube. Yeah, that's not deniable. It's I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of small little looks at this game, but not a lot of people play it. War-boarded ironclad Atmotic for the trip to Nova Goa. Nova Goa? I want to say Nova Scotia, but it hurts. It's not Nova Scotia. The journey was a short jaunt, so I spent the time on the observation deck, trying to get more of a sense of the scale and size of the land, the jewel in the British Empire's crown. The sailor's canvas. Though the Portugal had once dominated vast tracts of India, their influence was now limited to Goa and its capital city of Nova. See, I want to know how to say this word so badly. Is it Goa or Novagao? The whitewashed red roof city had a particular charm. Sea-salted air blew through the gulmour and acacia trees. Stepped colonial churches rang their brass bells, and steam-powered bicycle rickshaws jutted over the cobbled streets. A young Goan nun was blessing sailors, or the harbor was well developed. Let's go with the harbor. And most airships, seagoing vessels flew the blue-white vertical bicolor of the Portuguese Empire. I was watching these flags flutter in the breeze when I was knocked over by a pair of wheezing sailors. Watch out! A touch late for that, I commented. Still prone, one of the sailors held me up while the other brushed off the dust and sand that clung to my clothes. Abel, you're so clumsy, you fool! Don't blame me for this, Celio! The younger man shot back. Ignore my older brother. He's a pompous ass, Abel told me. An ass, am I? Celio roared. Ah, thank you. You're welcome, stranger, Abel said, ignoring his brother. Sorry to knock you down, aren't we? Celio left off, glaring, and shuffled his feet. Sorry about knocking you down, he mumbled. We're the Norna brothers, I suppose we owe you a drink. But not today, because we're setting off for Celion in an hour, his brother interjected. The captain will string us up if we're late. Come aboard, we'll smuggle you in. Let's go! Adventure now! Let's just go. Oh dear. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That should be fine. I'm gonna wait for the market to open. It's true, especially when there are tons of stuff that only triggers on later playthroughs. Routes change, new characters are introduced, the number of people I've seen take a route through Central Asia or Canada can be counted on one hand. Dang, that's really crazy how this game just has like a billion different routes. Oh, yes, the Caribbean timetable. I'll need that. Do I need fake teeth, though? That is the real question. I want to get the teeth. Frequent flyer. Seafarer. What do I feel like I don't need? Look, I'm not using. Oh, I'm about to go to sea. Am I going to Baku? I have no clue. Oh, Houston. I have that song that has Havana Unana in it stuck in my head now. Don't even know what it is. I just remember Havana Unana. I will depart to Colombo. We're going to Colombo. It's going to be great. Uncomfortable conditions, baking sunshine, and mild seas. This will be a wearisome option, but the partial seafaring set should make my master more comfortable. I can't seem to get this game because of the cost. How much is it right now? Portuguese steamship Ulysses was fancifully decorated and boasted red dyed sails, which matched exactly the captain's livery. I don't know if to call it a gentleman of style or a dandy of the sort. It's a Portuguese steamship called Ulysses. Look, I'm pretty sure he's trying way too hard to be very classy. I sort of wondered whether he paid as much attention to his sailing as he did to preening himself. I'm gonna take out the boss. It's been a while. Brown, that's great. Go for it, boss. The Norna brothers, who had knocked me over the Nova Goa, then offered to buy me a drink, welcoming me aboard with much jostling and jocularity. I welcomed them cheerfully, and it was my master who very moderately looked aside. They occupied me for some time, after which I spent the evening attending to my master's estate. Pressing his trousers, I wonder if Passepartout he worked. As I worked, do you ever train to be a valet? Such a question for my master. I tried to console him, and he sighed with fatigue. I made him comfortable, and after a while, he perked up rapidly. Good, he's so angry. Remember how much I paid for this game. Oh no. I didn't press the button fast enough. The Nornoa brothers dragged all my steps, keen to tell if the Ulysses and their adventures running Malwa opium to Macau, and lately Linton. Oh, gents, we're part of the opium trade now. This is really illegal and scary. I hope I don't die. $5. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good game. I find it worth it because you get a lot of playthroughs through it, and it's a good time killer, especially if they're on a flight, ironically enough. And if it's a 7-hour or 17-hour international flight, it is very fun to have. Your opium traders. No, this trip, Silvio informed me cheerily. We're hauling wax, saltpeter, and turtles at the moment. And we just unloaded a cargo of chandeliers in Nova Goa, but no doubt we'll be running opium again soon. They're very blasé about their trade. Do you smoke opium yourselves? Abel looked to Silvio, who coughed. I'm partial to the pipe now and then, but I'm nothing like those Chinese addicts. Cough. Yet, a man who takes his pleasure somewhat in this world, he lighted philosophically. Okay. Y'all like drugs, huh? Wow. Yeast and spices, LGBT, do it up. No worries, Grim. See you in a few. Ooh, some nuance. Oh, really? Well, now that I know that, it's good to know that. I thought I just, memorized it like a good valet. That was my only job. That actually makes a lot of sense considering the fact, my attention span is about that of a 5-year-old, and I'm wondering why I can't do half the stuff I did the last 2 seconds I saw it. The harbor at Colombo, capital city of British Ceylon, was so busy with trade ships that the water was barely visible, and the sky crisscrossed with glinting metal chains, tethering airships to the dock. A young Sinhalese man in an ill-fitting jacket looked over the sea. I'm going to say it clearly, here was a hub worth our finding. However, the more I looked, the more I noticed that several of the airships seemed worse for wear. Their envelopes roughly patched, their robes blackened by mold and slowly unraveling. But there was no other way around it. It seems boats had been abandoned in favor of the skies. I'm all for sky stuff. Yeah, I actually did not know. But if I don't know, you're right. All of this now makes so much more sense why I'm missing half the things that I thought I'd found. It's fine though. I'll work it up somehow. Yeah, I guess I'll figure out a way, I guess. Well, I'll stop wasting money on getting timetables that I'm not actually going to use them. This is rather poor of me. 2 days at noon. Some rest here. We spent the night in charming suite in the Grand Oriental Hotel, opposite the Victoria Arcade. The clattering of the electric trams ran late into the night, mixed with the lowing of the oxen. And I had to bury my head under the down pillow and sleep. Look, we're traveling for long enough to know that we're not going to get the best sleep. I mean, he might, but we're valet. That doesn't work that way. Drawing the poor people's carts across the cobbled streets. Yeah, now that you say that, this all makes so much sense. Canton, Hong Kong. I don't know if I'm ever going to get the Baku. I don't know where Baku is anymore. Baku or Madras. So 2 places very far away from each other. It's just... I'm never getting back to Baku. I'm gonna have to settle down. Airship. What is this? What is that? I don't know what that is. It's weird. When you're on the planning screen, the game audio gets much louder and you get much softer. Well, I don't know what to do about that. I think it's also because I'm looking at a different screen, so I'm moving my face farther away from the area. Let's see if this will fix it. Alright, there we go. Just stay where you need to be, Mike. The Kempsicorn was an early model Savarak automatic. With lovingly restored paint job and new engines, my husband painted her. Captain Bonyasak said proudly. He's also the airship's cook, so address any complaints directly to the source. I'm sure the food will be delicious. Yeah, I have right now, like, the original monitor that the game was on switched, and then now I'm like trying to get it back, but at this point I've just given up, since as long as the game works and I can hear sound and I can speak, it's good enough. At least for right now. I'm sure the food will be delicious, I said stoutly. You're so polite. Captain Bonyasak thumped me on the back as if I had made an excellent joke. Tell me, it is delicious after you try it. And with such an important detail settled, we took off. Frog? My man, your attention is so very calming. Or your attentions are very calming. We had an opportunity to sample Monsieur Bonyasak's fare at dinner. Rich rice noodles drenched in coconut milk flavored with chilies and coriander. Thinly sliced papaya salad, steamed fish stuffed with kaffir, lime leaves, and lemongrass. A field of gastronomic delights. I complimented Monsieur Bonyasak heartily. Oh, this is part... Is this around where my world is? No, this is a little too far south. The Kempsicorn was an informal ship. The crew, passengers, and captain all ate together, shouting stories and jokes all the way down a long table. First mate Srimayong swung his grizzled face in my direction. Most of us met the captain in Malacca, when it was still the best damn port in the world. Did the captain already have her ship? She had a little Burmese courier ship back then. Terrible in bad weather, but it could land in a bowl of soup. Oh, sorry, bowl of soup. Bowl too. Well, there's some sort of movement happening. Terrible in bad weather, but it could land in a bowl of soup, he reminisced. What's more interesting is that the captain was up to in Malacca. And what was that? I prompted. Captain Bonyasak spent every meal at the local Thai restaurant. We all thought she was enamored of the food, but the captain had her eye on the chef all along. Poor Sorapong didn't have a chance. She carried him off within the month. We've all eaten very well since. A cheer went up along the table, and the captain's voice was the loudest. Oh, we're in my part of the country. Or, sorry, the world. We were a day's journey from Chittagong when one of the engines ground to a halt. The ship tilted alarmingly, but seemed to stay in the air, though Captain Bunyasak's will alone. I can't say her name right. Captain Bunyasak's will alone. Chittagong in time? I asked, thinking of my master's wager. Better you ask if we are going to make it to Chittagong at all, the captain replied through gritted teeth before tossing her head. I refuse to lose the Kempsicorn. I will not lose her. Her voice was thick and with suppressed emotion, and left her to her labors. We did not crash that night, but we did little more than inch towards our destination. This dude's really obsessed with his mustache, and I don't appreciate it. But I also don't want to lose my job. The crew was entirely absent at breakfast. It was eerily quiet. As we ate our meal, Monsieur Bunyasak tried to persuade us to accept the second helpings. Fayeda, this is the captain, is trying to fix the engine. Have faith in her skills. She seemed rather upset yesterday, I remarked. Her airship was probably going to crash, she said mildly, though I saw steel in his eyes. Is it so strange that she was upset? It seemed to be about something else. He hesitated. The Kepsicorn is named for our daughter. You see. Oh, that's sad. Oh, that's really sad. We lost her when we were very young. Or when she was very young. Fayeda will not let her namesake crash. I promise you that. That hurt my heart a little bit. True to Monsieur Bonyasak's word, his captain coaxed and cursed the Compuson into a Chittagong in the afternoon, her engine venting thick black smoke into the sky. Don't take this wrong way, the captain said, seeing us to Chittagong. But I think you two are damn bad luck. I could see the experience shake her, and we gracefully took our leave. Yay, we're here! Western Recreation Set. Open road. See, there's the dusty road and the open road, and I feel like both of them are about the same. A heavy-duty compass that can point true north, even in the thickest of weather. Heavy storm set. I'm never going to Madras, so screw that, and I'm probably never going to Baku, so forget that. So the open road set is fine, and the salve of Arctic. No. Heavy storm. I can't get that, so the salve it shall be. I'm not a man with a gun. I've yet to be one so far, and I refuse to be one now. I'm gonna sell that, actually, and get the compass. The compass is much more efficient. Alright, that'll be good for now. Let us go to the hotel. Pass the night here. Yeah, I got the gist of that. It's really disappointing, because I thought it was like, is this going to be useful? And then it wasn't. I'm like, no, I get it. I get it. These are all purely because I find them interesting for about 2 seconds. Because I like what their little snippets say, but that's about it. Chittagong had been under the British control for over 100 years, but still I felt the hostility of the Bengalis as they fetched our bags and served us tea and smiled. Ignore the ill temper magnanimously. A tactic that was almost universally adopted amongst the colonial administrators, traders, and officers of the city. It was an odd sensation to be hated so impersonally, and so I took the pains to be courteous to the natives of the city, but it had little effect on the tamped down rages selected in the corners of the mouths, or nestled in the mouths. More prosaically, we had been instructed to visit the visa office. So I hired a mechanical palanquin, and I was happy to enjoy the tour. When we hurried to the explosion rocked the city. A thundering explosion rocked the city of the west. The streets flooded with soldiers and citizens rolling in an uneasy mass. I leapt out of the palanquin. My curiosity overriding their instincts, realizing I would be swifter on foot instead. They let you redirect conversations, which is nice. That is true. I do get to explore, I get to find out a lot of different paths otherwise. But I'm also not really bright, and can't get back to the map to figure out where I am, so I'm not really looking usually when I need to have those conversations. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the spiral of smoke rising from the police armory. on the roof of which a man in a pristine white kurta performed a crisp military salute, raised a green, white, and red flag, the flag of the Indian nationalists. The people around me began to scream their support, and hundreds of white leaflets fell from the sky. I seized a leaflet, conveniently pinned in both English and Bengali. The revolutionaries declared themselves to be the Indian Republican Army, and announced their intention to seize the police armory, but also disrupt the railway and telegraph office. The oil smoke in the air, continuous explosions indicated the success of their mission. It seemed the revolutionaries had effectively cut off Chittagong. We were trapped, and the city would, I feared, soon be ablaze. Okay, relations with Fogg has improved and now courageous. Did I really find a new route though? Or did I just get stuck here? Look, we'll go to Yandanabong, because I am terrified of what is going to happen right now. That looks really cool. Can I just say, like, I would totally ride this. I would have this as my daily driver. As it happened, we did not stay in Chittagong for long. The British Army had closed down Chittagong's ports so that pickets would prevent travelers from leaving the city. Luckily for us, the colonial governor had made an exception for monks. But no tyrant tyrannies all... I'm curious what that sentence finishes as. But no tyrannises all. The government's weakness was for the religious class, so we had allowed a caravan of monks to proceed on their way to Burmese royal capital of Yanabon for the 5th Buddhist Synod. An admirably self-serving decision, given the uprising. Interfering with these peaceful monks' religious practice would only inflame the unrest further, and perhaps even push the tense British relations with the Kingdom of Burma into yet another war. Uncharacteristically, it was my master, rather than I, who had convinced the monks to grant us passage with them. I confess myself surprised by the magnificent... Oh, yes, I confess myself surprised by the magnificence of their transport. A small fleet of carriages drawn by a pair of gilded leographs, chinthies, which belched steam from their jaws. I glanced at my master as we settled into our seats. "Are you sure they're monks?" I asked. A dry laugh interpreted whatever response Monsieur Fogg was about to make as a Burmese monk of middle years climbed in. "The carriages were sent by the King of Burma. They do not belong to us," he explained. We began to jolt our way out of the city. "We own no material goods." "Very generous king," I remarked, being rather suspicious of kings in general, and kingly generosity in particular. "He is," a monk agreed affably, and then settled into a meditative silence. And so, with such conversation, we left the burning town of Chittagong behind us. Look off the boss. The monks in our carriage began to chant in Sanskrit as the sun moved across the sky. Which I had done before. I was a monk for about a year. And yes, I guess in this imaginative world I would have been one of these monks, possibly. The monks in our carriage began to chant in Sanskrit as the sun moved across the sky. I half drowsed to the calming rhythm of their voices, listened, captivated by the sound. Tried to stop my ears with my socks. I would probably start getting sleepy, only waking up when our carriage drew to a halt in the royal city of Yanabon, overlooked by the hill of Mandalay. "I'm fine, form, but we must make haste." Okay, let's look here. Where in the world have you been, Jared? Are you a world traveler of any sort? Yanabon was thronged with Buddhist monks and believers who had flooded the city to attend the 5th Buddhist Synod. synod. They meditated, conversed, and drank endless cups of tea in the many travelers' shelters, zayats, of royal capital. I went looking for transportation. I went looking for something to eat. I love food. And then somehow fell into a conversation with one of the cooks in the nearby zayat, who was stirring a vast pot of glass noodles in chicken broth flavored with lime leaves and coconut. Aren't Buddhists vegetarian? What? What? Well, follows the thought of school. The monks are only forbidden to consume the flesh of the human: elephant, horse, dog, cat, lion, tiger, bear, leopard, and slug. Do slugs even have flesh? I said weakly. Are you questioning Buddha? No. She sighed heavily. Now, are you just going to stand there, or are you going to help me serve this meal? Of course, yeah, of course. We fed perhaps 50 monks and travelers over the next hour. It was hard labor, but at the end of it, I felt a true spirit of camaraderie. The cook gave me 2 bowls of flavorsome noodle broth as a reward, and took them home to my master. A nourishing meal was not something to be turned down on our travels. Oh, game, come back. What happened? Yadabon. Where would we depart to? Yeongpungsu Pass. We had to travel across the world. I feel that maybe... Let's just stay here one day and explore, sir. Discovered a new route. I took a few hours to explore, letting possibilities for how we might go forward. Okay, you're right. There's nothing really happening. Let's go to Pangangsu Pass. That arrives tomorrow? Oh, we have tomorrow. But this one's today. Departs now. Okay, let's go. Monmouth the Mount. Entirely of the east and west coast. Half a dozen different Caribbean islands, British Isles, Iceland, Greenland, Canada, Mexico, France, Belgium, Netherlands, Denmark, and Israel. Ooh, Germany and Poland. That is quite a bit. That is a lot. That is super cool. Are you like a world traveler of sorts where you kind of stay there for a while and soak in the sights? Do you stay there for months at a time, or do you just go there for small little holiday trips? I personally feel like I need more than like a month to enjoy any singular country that I go to, and I always want to stay for about 3 or so, just to get my grasp and soak in all the sights and really feel like I'm part of the culture. But yeah, I totally get it. That is super awesome. That is super cool. I actually have yet to be in much of the US. I think I've only gone to like New York, the West Coast, and I don't think I've been anywhere near Florida at this point. Oh, I'm gonna pause for 2 seconds. I have to fix something. I asked. Only that it is administered by us scheming entities, enemies in the British, begging your master's pardon, he said cheerfully. I never stay long, they're always up to something unpleasant, begging your master's pardon. Oh, okay, converse, let's talk. You seem disappointed. Van Gogh Pass to... whatever. Okay. I was... Sure. I mean, I don't know anything. Guwahati. You know that there was neither a banker nor Guwahati. Havana. Unana. Oh, okay. Alright. What about Havana? half of my heart is in. I really should have taken that route. That is... I made a mistake there. I should have gone to Singapore. Possibly. We traveled through the night. The forest turned a sepulchral, shadowy green and... See, this is terrible, because this is making me learn new words that I have never used in my life. Green phosphorescence cast by their chinthies headlamps. Oh, calm down, sir. Oh, damn it. I didn't press it right time. The driver dropped us a mile outside of Pangu Pass. I had a bad feeling about the place today, he said apologetically. You can get there on your own from here. Do you think we should turn back? I asked with concern. No, no, he said after a pause. I am sure you and your English master will be fine. It is my face they do not like. I hefted our bags and we slowly tramped our way to the settlement of Pangu Pass. It was easy to find. We just headed towards the curious-looking airships bobbing gently above the trees. Good gracious, this is rather more exhausting than anticipated. Bongo Pass. Nah, I just hit up the touristy spots. Check them off my list. Oh yeah, Iceland, Germany, and Ireland are... They are really good for longer visits because those are just really beautiful places that are very inviting and there's so much to do that isn't... I wouldn't say... Well yeah, just in general, just a very beautiful place that everyone's spread out just far enough that you're never too far from society, which is really nice about those places. Yeah, I still gotta check out a good majority of Europe. I have family in France. I've yet to meet them, and I have to check that off my list. But yeah, I definitely gotta go to France and then probably explore from there. There is an Italian friend of mine who has a grandfather slash uncle who also, or grandfather and an uncle who are very into being tailors, and I picked it up as a hobby for a little while and made money doing that, so I might go back there and pick up the trade off of them and stay with them for a little while, because I love Italy oh so much, and I think I would love being there for a few years. Hoping that the economy is not completely trash and I don't die out there. You never know. You never know. But she's located in Genoa, and so is the rest of her family, so if I go visit them, that'd be a really nice experience for me to be a tailor a little bit and pretend to be James Bond for a little while, because, oh my gosh, that city is beautiful. What was your favorite place to go to, Jared? There was a mood of grim celebration. We arrived in Pangu Pass. A man by the name of Captain Chalmers had captured Surya, a notorious Indian revolutionary responsible for some of the recent disturbances in Chittagong. Would you like to come with me to the interrogation to interrogate the man? Wow. All right, Captain Chalmers asked genially. I cannot trust the natives to guard my back. I must see to my own gentleman. He waved away my refusal. We must know the names of his fellow conspirators. I will do my duty to find them out, even if you will not. An hour later, I heard Surya screaming. That's just cold. Everyone in Pangu Pass must have done so. I turned to Monsieur Fogg, my hands shaking. I cannot bear this. Monsieur Fogg's expression did not veer from the usual calm impassibility. We are not agents of the Crown, Passepartout, he explained calmly. We have no business interfering. It is an abomination, I spat. I do not think about it, he said deliberately. Meeting my eyes, his cool blue gaze had a hint of gentleness to it. Or at least, I fancied so. I suggest that you take the same precaution. 6 hours later, they hanged Surya from a makeshift scaffold at the town square. I will not detail the state he was in. Captain Chalmers watched the whole thing without flinching, and then vomited spectacularly all over his shoes. It was a dark time. I wanted to take back the decision to come this way. I wanted to leave past Hungu Pass and never return. Ah, my friends, we cannot have everything we want in this dark life. Chalmers gave us permission to leave. We scrambled to look for departures. That's a cold, cold moment we're in. Israel was all the Mediterranean lifestyle I needed. I'm very protective of personal space. That said, I was there when the Syrian civil war was at its height. It's really something to be at the border and you could hear and feel the bombs falling. Yeah, I have a good sum of friends who are right around the same time. So it's pretty difficult to deal with places where you have little to no personal space and don't know if you're going to make it out. or feel extremely unsafe while you're doing so. That is very intense though, man. Yeah, I have to say, I can definitely understand wanting your personal space. I don't know, I kind of like the camaraderie that comes with not having everything be alone. But I also, that's how I know I'm super American, because right now I am in my own place where I would probably go insane if I had to hear neighbors above me or around me or have to share it with 4 or 5 other people. There was no hotels in Pengsu Pass, but we were able to find a night, or put up a night in the local man's thatched roof dwelling. I'm in a roaring health, but we must make haste. Can we leave today? Leave today. Let us embark. Alright, that neck cushion is saving our butts today, because it's going to go down quite a bit. That is so cool! I want one. We boarded a Garuda, an eagle-like flying automaton the size of a small airship, bound for Canton. Captain Chalmers came to wave us off, but I could not look him in the eyes. Our luggage was suspended from the creature's claws, trunks and suitcases all nettled up like some sort of absurd prey. Then it began to beat its wings, and we rose up into the air. Converse. How to serve, Monsieur Fogg? Is there something the matter? Apples. Yes? Ah, good, good. Canton! What have you learned about Canton? Canton was once the only Chinese port open to foreigners. Hong Kong. For instance, you can pick up hunting rifles in Hong Kong that are extremely valuable in Bavaria. That's cool. That's real cool. Did not know that. I highly doubt I'm going to remember that by the time I actually have to use it, though. Thankfully, there were sleeping berths inside the Garuda's hull, and other conveniences besides. But we all had to take our turns upon the beds and sleep in shifts. I might have enjoyed it, but I could not shake the sounds of the dying man in Pengsu Pass from my ears. They stuck as though they had sunk to the very bones of my skull. Just look at that health bar, just slowly disappearing. Phileas Fogg attempts a round-the-world adventure. I woke to one of the crew's grinning faces peering at me through the porthole. I leapt up in horror. I merely smiled back blankly, and not perceiving that said crewman must be suspended outside the Garuda to be so rudely looking in upon me. I rushed upon the deck at once and had to take my sleep-muddled senses into hand. I'm curious. and saw the crew hard at work suspending an inverted canopy of pale blue silk under the Garuda. Are you making a sail? I asked. Well, no, said the nearest crew member with a crack-toothed grin. Empress Cixi does not like airships and the like. The Chinese are likely to shoot us down if they spot us. Sky-colored camouflage, Monsieur Fogg remarked, coming up to the deck beside me. An ingenious solution. Wait. So we're flouting Chinese law? I demanded. You know better than privateers or smugglers. Perhaps. The Empress doesn't like us, but she does like taxing trade. We pay tax. The girl tossed her head and flashed another grin. That's why she puts us up with you foreigner devils, and why she winks at airships as long as we put up some effort. You're very political minded for an airwoman, I noted. My pa taught me to read English for his sins. She barked and laughed. The name's Lynn Carrington, and while my pa was European, and by all accounts a devil besides, Ma's a nice village girl from Yunnan. She stuck out her hand. I feel like she would not like it very much if I kissed it, so I'm going to shake it. As though she were a gentleman. She had an authoritative grip, and I barely escaped without crushed fingers. Really good choice not to kiss her hand, because she would have just snapped one of my fingers. Far too northeast. I don't mind being around a lot of people, but I don't want them touching me. I totes get that. I think that's one of the reasons why I don't like going to a lot of, I guess, yeah, Mediterranean countries, because everyone's very touchy and very lovey. And I think the last time I was down there, it's just everyone just kisses and they say hello, and I'm not very used to that. I'm a nerd, and I like my personal space a lot, so it's pretty difficult to be like, hi, kiss on the cheek, hug. This is a really long hug. Oh, we're going in for a group hug now. Oh, okay. All right. Please stop touching my shoulders. I don't know who any of you people are. You're all too very kind. All right, this is wonderful. I'm gonna go now. Finger blast goodbye. But yeah, I totally get it. I'm terrible when it comes to having my personal space destroyed. Carrington, as she insisted I called her. Tried to convince me to come out on the wings with her. It's a thrill like no other, she assured me. The only way to fly. Why, who am I to deny such an invitation? I said, stepping up beside her. Carrington's face lit up at my words. And quick as a flash, she dropped us together and tied one end to a sturdy metal pole which seemed placed so purposely for securing errant wing walkers. I leapt up onto the wing first, feeling suddenly competitive. She was not far behind, and we ran the length of the wing nimbly, stretched the rope taut between us. I looked at the vista below us. Far, far below us, I felt a prickle of sweat as I began to walk out into the wing. I could feel the reverberations of the engine through the metal, and the wind whipped into my eyes. What had possessed me to agree to such a rash action? Carrington laughed. Of course I had done it. Because I was dared to. I don't give a shit about the girl. I don't care how pretty she is. But if you're gonna dare me, I might as well be entertained on a giant metal flying bird. Apparently, I am doomed never to learn my lesson when it comes to pride. I have a lot of it. I accept it. Still, I cannot pretend I regretted a moment of it. Carrington and I sat together at the joint of the Garuda's wing as it banked and descended its destination. Absolutely nothing between our feet and the enlarging vista of the canton. After a while, I was crying. Passepartout, what is the matter? I saw something terrible in Pongu Pass, I told her. I think they have not left me. Here, she gestured me to lay my head on her shoulder. You are well above the world, and I will sing to you. And she did. In Lithing Mandarin, teaching me gently in between verses. I was almost sorry to land. Well now, this journey is proving more daring than I expected. Draining also. Market's opening tomorrow. This is the way we should. Canton's 13 factories had once been the only Chinese port which traded with foreigners. The city had grown opium-rich and impossibly lush until the Second Opium War and the subsequent opening of other treaty ports of foreign trade. I'm gonna be honest, it seems like a lot of opium and war. These places usually look like shit. Still shambling, too foolish to realize the killing blow had already fallen. We're lodging in the barbarian settlements, as locals termed them, on the sandbank island of Shamain, bordered by the Pearl River and connected to the mainland by 2 bridges. I spoke with the... Oh shit. Well... Vietnamese troops or Sikhs? I feel like this is a big choice for mentality's sake. British Empire? I'm French. French Vietnamese troops guarding the French bridge, who chatted to each other in a mix of Vietnamese, Cantonese, and French. Alright, look, at least I can understand one of them. It does me good to hear my mother's tongue. Have you been in China long? I asked, my curiosity piqued by their command of the local tongue. The guards looked at each other before shuffling their feet. Long enough to recognize a tourist, sir. I looked across the canal to the mainland. Is this not a boring task? They looked at each other for a long moment before the eldest answered cryptically, "It is boring, until it is not." It seemed an odd state of affairs that traders and merchantmen would need an island apart from the locals, and imported guards beside it. It was a stark reminder that foreign trade in China was performed at the tip of a sword. It was foolish. For Chinese to resist the future? Or for us to push in we're so unwelcome? Look, let's be honest. Resist the future for why? Steam trains and telegraph lines, airships were pulling us all ever closer. China could not hope to escape the embrace of modernity. The fading, bristling city of Canton was but a sign of the times. 30 minutes till that place opens. I'm gonna zoom out for like 2 seconds. So, Hong Kong to somewhere in between here. There's just so much. Alright, it's not too bad. Let's go back. A little back into the market. A tot of rum would have been useful, I thought, but that did not actually help me. I'll go with... part of the warm climate. I think this will be good. That will be fine. Let us explore for 4 hours. I spent a few hours in exploration, discovering the options for we might continue our journey. Let's plan. Hong Kong. Negotiate. Continue. Before 8 p.m. Or 6 p.m.? 8 p.m. Yes, let us go. Embark now. Hire a second bicycle. That's fine. How's the snow up there right now, Jared? I think the last thing I saw was there's snow almost in the summer at this point, right? Or what should be the summer. Even though it was only 80 miles from Canton to Hong Kong, the passage, we were told, would still take a day. We boarded a wobbly pair of steam bicycles, and driven by a pair of boys in tiny, weary proportions, who cheered and yelled as they kicked the bicycle into high gear. Wait, is the weather terrible out there? I'm not too sure. It's getting closer to, like, enjoyable weather, and I miss it oh so much, and I need it in my life. Yeah, it's not too bad. A little bit of snow and ice, but not too much. But still colder than I want it to be. The bicycle ride was fast and rough. That sounds like a terrible day of travel, bouncing around in an uncomfortable saddle, listening to our driver's endless chatter as the scenery rolled blankly past. We arrived a few hours later into the port of Hong Kong, and the boy stuck out his hand for a tip. Yeah, fine. You did good. I gave him 20 pounds and set him on his way. He nodded with thanks, then he wagged his finger and offered a single phrase of advice. No opium, he said. No, no, no. I thanked him for his guidance, and he giggled. Then he jumped on his bike and rocked away. My funds have gone down by 20 bucks. Oh my goodness. Snow comes on Wednesday. It'll be the 4th major snowstorm in 3 weeks. Yeah, you know, I am a big fan of snow and weather and cold at the right times. And wow, I could not imagine being there right now. I almost ended up living in Madison, and I honestly don't think I would be able to handle it in Wisconsin. I am from the tropical islands of Thailand and Laos, and I have spent a majority of my life around deserts and water and enjoying beaches, so if I were there, I would probably freeze to death. I am so sorry, that is so ridiculous. Yeah, I feel like this year has gone terrible for weather, especially because we are just running around in circles with our heads cut off, and time has changed, and hours move forward. I don't know what a schedule is anymore. This year has just been a shit show for weather. Let us sleep in a hotel. We'll pass the night here. I was looking over a bolt of bright red Chinese silk when a man accosted me. This man had a mustache so fine and so luxuriant, so well tended that I briefly lost the power of speech. I watched mesmerized as it quivered with his every word of introduction. It seemed his name was Fix. He offered me a drink, and given that I had a few hours to spare, I could not in good conscience refuse him. He led me into a dingy basement where a sour-faced Chinese woman presided over several tables, a few couches with men and women, mostly Europeans. Oh, fuck. I fucked up. I really ended up at an opium den. Oh dear. You frequent such a place. The gin is good, told me, and ordered the bottle to prove his claim. It was thin, sharp, but not wholly distasteful. We chatted amiably for a time, and I noted he kept my glass full and not his own. Listen, he said abruptly. I'm a police detective sent from the London office. You a detective? I could not hide my I can't say that word. Incredulity. But he presented me with his commission, which seemed all in respects genuine and correct. You've been duped, he resumed. Mr. Fogg's wager is pretext. Last September, a robbery of £55,000 was committed to the Bank of England by a person whose description answers exactly to that. A Mr. Phileas Fogg. He's what? 55,000 pounds, you say? Did you say? What? I swear. Surely that cannot be. You know scarcely anything of your master, Fix ground on. You went into his service the day he departed on the so-called wager, carrying little but a large quantity of banknotes. He's an honest man, I asserted mechanically, though in the face of Fix's absolute certainty, I found myself assailed with prickles of doubt. The detective hissed a breath which fluttered the tips of his oiled mustache. I could arrest you as his accomplice. I've done nothing wrong, I protested. Then you must help me. Fix pressed his pipe into my hand. I lifted it to my mouth before dashing it away. This is an opium pipe, I accused, standing up so abruptly that my chair tipped over. I ran, without a glancing backwards, not wanting to fix a glance. Chance for further trickery. Who knew what the man was capable of? I ran through the streets of Hong Kong until I reached my lodgings. Despite the gin sloshing its way through my body, I felt as sober as a judge, and twice as grim. Yeah, if the guy's trying to get you opium, he's probably not the best man. I was loath to leave Monsieur Fogg for any length of time, having so narrowly escaped the clutches of the blackguard Fix. We explored the city from the comfort of a mechanical sedan chair, but my terribly inexperience dimmed the colors and tarnished the beauty of the streets. I found myself anxious to leave. Spent the last 5 years in New Hampshire. 50 to 60 inches a year of snow? What is this? I mean, you better have the best snowplow drivers if you are living in a place that gets that much snow. Philadelphia. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever actually heard anything good from any of my friends who stayed in Philadelphia. Are they terrible at taking care of the snow, or are they just terrible in general? Honestly, as much as I've heard about Philadelphia, all I've heard is football. Everyone hates it here. It's really cold, and there's a lot of anger. That's pretty much what I've gotten out of my friends, and I hear about Philadelphia from them. As I found myself anxious to leave. The market in Hong Kong, what do we have? Selling that, sold the apples. I'm selling the salad. I don't care about it. I'm getting me those cowboy boots. That's important. Whoa. This way. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Alright. Let's leave the note. Nah, that's just the Eagle fans. They suck. Alright, solid. I'll go with that. I'll accept that. I've been to worse cities. Columbus, Ohio. Never salted the roads. What? How can you... I don't understand that logic. So I don't think this is a mystery, but Color Circuit is in New Mexico. We're in Albuquerque, and even we don't get a lot of snow. Like, we get maybe 5 inches of snow a year, around where we are, anyways. And even if we have like 10 minutes of snow, which I gotta tell you right now, is an amazing sight. The roads are immediately salted. So I cannot imagine a place that doesn't salt their roads at all. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely worth it if you have your significant other there and you have family around. That's definitely worth it. I'm still pretty much in New Mexico because I am finishing up my degree, and after I get my master's here, I'm gonna be going to either, I don't know, I can't really decide, either Austin or to Seattle. I'm really just going to a bigger place because I need more adventure in my life. We made ourselves comfortable for the night. I spent a while talking to the hotelier. We made ourselves comfortable for the night, and I gathered what I could, but gathered little of use. The Jade Tiger! Dang it, I really should not have said that. Yeah, let's go. The Jade Tiger was an old Modug. I love English. Class Parisian airship, renovated with Chinese colors and fittings. It was painted all over with Manchu lucky symbols. It had been repaired and patched up several times over. Under the gaudy paint and the red silk curtains, we climbed aboard, ready for Journey East. Clock, take care of her captain. Passepartout, your attention is highly restorative. Captain Su wore a traditional Manchu pao in blue cotton, bone hairpins in her fan-shaped hair, and a jade thumb ring. I'm very happy that this game has a bunch of female captains. I'm all for it. Surprise, surprise, the two places where everyone is moving. Yeah, look, I cannot deny it. I'm a gent in my mid-20s who is very single and plans on enjoying my singleness for quite a bit of time, and I definitely have to enjoy it where there is at least a lot of people, because in Albuquerque and New Mexico in general, there's just not enough variety for me, and I can only climb so many mountains around here until I get really bored. Also, there's not a lot of places to see theater, and I'm a giant musical theater person, and also something CrossFit, because now I'm just like creating a trope for myself. I bowed court greeting. She looked at me quizzically and then asked a serious question. I see it look Chinese and Cantonese. That's not how that works. It's Mandarin or Cantonese. An English-speaking crew was summoned. Her tool belt hung with a rope, bolt cutters, and climbing equipment. The captain said she expected you to speak Cantonese. She translated, because you were in Hong Kong. I was only briefly in Hong Kong, I sighed. I did not have much time to practice my languages. The crew member rattled her bolt cutters to me, at me. The captain speaks Cantonese, Mandarin, 3 dialects of Manchu, Russian, and Arabic. Are any of those speak little Mandarin? Offered weakly, though only very little. And for all her delicacy, arranged her hair in grace and looked through, thoroughly exasperated, and stalked off in a huff. The crew member cuckold is supposed to be the first thing I think of. Man, I'm a jackass. Chuckled and stuck her hand out to me. Sung Hu Ying, looks like I'll be looking after you and your master on this trip. Dear Mademoiselle Song, I ventured. Song Zhu Ying shuddered. Sung Zhu Ying's fine. Try not to mangle it too much. Passepartout. Her pronunciation, of course, was flawless. There. Converse. What is your wish, master? Neck cushion? Thank you, Passepartout. Stiff neck makes for the most unpleasant experience. Journey! How will we cross the Pacific, monsieur? There are many options, but which one we will choose will decide our route across the Americas. It's good. It's good. Money? Do we have enough? We are most wonderfully funded. Indeed. You have made some excellent decisions. Okay. All right. That's good. As someone who's seen every Broadway production of the last 15 years, I can understand. The benefit of living at most 2 hours outside of New York and having parents who are platinum members of the Broadway Theater Society. I am extremely jealous. That sounds so amazing. Oh my goodness. I only recently got into theater. I say recently, but I say in the last like 5 years or so. Yeah, because I started a little while back, and I love it with an ungodly passion. It is ridiculous. Yeah, musical theater, favorite thing on the planet. My favorite show, Jekyll and Hyde. I wanted to see, of course, the thing that's super hot with everybody, which was Hamilton. And I still want to see. I still want to see it with the new cast. I have no idea when I'll be. Actually, I'll be in New York in July, so that'll be entertaining. But I don't know if I'll be able to see a Broadway show. What is would you recommend a show to see right now that's running? Or which one would you recommend? Monsieur Fogg took exception to the moth-eaten red silk drapings which adorned our cabin, and asked me take them down for the duration of the voyage. Is it the color that distresses you, I asked? Does it matter? You replied perfectly economically. You know what? I suppose it does not, in the end, I replied, attempting to consider the matter from my master's ever-logical perspective. Song Zi-young looked rather insulted, I think. When she came back to fetch us for dinner, I saw the bare-walled room. My master has particular tastes, I explained. How nice for him to have the luxury of taste, was her only remark. But it felt its sting keenly. Relationships with Fogg have improved somewhat. Great. Jade Tiger. Take her the boss. Fresh shirt. Excellent. Have you not changed from a fresh shirt? Unless I give it to you, sir? We dined in the cabin's quarters, accompanied by Song Zi-young. A Siberian tiger skin rug sprawled across the floor. The captain's shelves groaned under the weight of so many books. Let's talk about that fucking Siberian rug, bro. A note of sybaritic indulgence in an otherwise plainly decorated room. So the captain shot it herself, Song Zi-young remarked, miming an arrow shot. She loves archery almost as much as she loves the Jade Tiger. How did she become captain? Therein lies a tale, the crew member smiled with relish. The captain's father was too old and weak to join the army, so Captain Sue put on the clothing of a boy and rode out to take his place. How daring of her! We have a literal Mulan situation going right now. I am all for it. It was a grave risk, but she served for 12 years and gained so much honor that when she was discovered, the generals gifted her with an airship and forgave her deception. Is this not a tale of a famous Chinese folktale? The story of Mulan? Sung Zhuyun's eyes widened. You know the story, she said flatly, and then shrugged. You're not so ignorant as you seem. A most stimulating dinner at the captain's table, all told. Oh, you know what? I love Book of Mormon. I am all for it. It is one of the shows that I think all my friends have seen except for me. And since I'm going to be there for about a week or so, I'm going to try and check out at least one show on Broadway. But yeah, I definitely don't expect to get Hamilton. At this point, I've accepted that I'm just going to sing along to the soundtrack like a billion times like everyone else does. We tethered at Yokohama in the early afternoon. My eyes passed over the slope-roofed buildings, carriages, and bare cherry trees. I made a particular effort to thank Song Zhu-ying for entertaining the journey, for she had been an excellent and, if fanciful, translator. Think nothing of it, she advised, shaking my hand with her calloused one. Good luck. Ready, Passepartout? My master called. Of course, monsieur, I replied eagerly, and followed him onto the Japanese soil. The false passport could earn us well here. Whoa. No use for an engineer's set. It actually makes no sense for me. Let's explore for a few hours. Are you a fan of musicals, or are you also an actor of sorts, Jared? It was hard to believe that Yokohama had only relatively recently opened to foreigners. There was an entire foreigners' district not far from the waterfront. It was common to hear Chinese or Russian or Japanese. I mean, of course Japanese. There were several varieties of English. It was a melding of cultures and clothing styles. Russians arrayed in their rich colors, hoop-skirt British ladies, lately of Bengal or Singapore, Americans who adopted the coat-like haori over their shirts and trousers. I noticed a Japanese man watching the scene with a look of intense concentration, scribbling in a sketchbook. I leaned in for a look. He was drawing a stylized picture of the foreign porters with the quick pen strokes which stopped abruptly as my shadow fell over the drawing. He looked up, clearly irritated. "Do you mind?" He said in an accent, in an unholy mix of Dutch, French, and English. "I am making a drawing for a woodcut." Why does the American appear drunk? I wondered aloud, and he covered his drawing jealously. "It's an artistic impression of the foreigners," he stressed. "Well, it's certainly artistic," I allowed. The scene on the page was much more lively than the merchants haggling, and their wives and children riding down about carriages. "Very strange people," he announced after a brief silence. "I mean, everyone's strange," I replied thoughtfully. Thinking of my travels, he shrugged, clearly unconvinced. He colored one of his women's skirts lovingly, his hand on the page much gentler and kinder than his voice had been. Finally, he thrust the paper in my direction, assuring me that it was only a preliminary sketch. I accepted gracefully, charmed that he had chosen to bestow a gift upon a near stranger. I stored it carefully. It was a fine souvenir of Yokohama. Healthcare analyst. I totally get that. That is one of the jobs that is very prevalent in this city. And it is one that I could not handle for very long because I am not a very bright man. And I only know how to partially make people laugh sometimes. So I've decided that that's usually where I go with it. I follow my ridiculous ear and my terrible dance moves and my singing, and that's where I usually live my life. Oh, my dear. 19 days? 6 days? Alter it, right now. 4 days, $3,000. I'll do it, it's fine. Okay, 4 days. Ooh, biostatistics. Yeah, you are a brighter man than I. I have switched around from, well, I switched around from biology first, trying to do pre-med, to go into nutrition, and then I later changed that to architecture, and then after that I changed it yet again to film, and then film ended up being where I stayed for a very long time because I was getting work for it, and oddly enough, it's the only thing I know how to do remotely okay-ish. With what remained of the day, I helped the kitchen staff clean. Can we leave today? I am not going to Manila. That is not happening. When does this leave? Leaves in 3 days. Me. Stay in Yokohama. Travel a bit. As night fell, I went to stretch my legs. But found nothing of any particular interest. Alright. Manila's not happening, bro. Manila is not part of the plan. I refuse and I refuse. 2 more days to San Francisco. I can't go to the market anymore. Fine. I'll just... don't even care. Don't even care. Before turning into the night, I attended Monsieur Fogg. Fogg ensured he was comfortable with the hopes he would have a restorative night. Just looking at it, I kind of want... Manila bad. Manila very bad. One more day. One more day. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. Alright, one more day of sleep and rest. I took a room and settled in. I ran a few errands. Oh, I got some money. That's nice. Now we can go. Embark on the trip. $4,000. Hire extra space, because I'm not leaving that. Woo! Oh, mild seas. Good thing I still had that, because I'm not going to lose any hearts. I am all for that. And then we boarded the Water Lily. The Water Lily was a sleek iron-hulled ship to submarine prototype, captained by a severe American by the name of Wicker, who wore a top hat at all times and preferred tea to coffee, which greatly endeared him to Monsieur Fogg. In addition to this unusual compliment, the Water Lily carried an entire corps of brass-goggled engineers and a brace of submariners on standby should the captain call the order to submerge. The rumor was that she was a Confederate vessel, sold off to private concern in the later, more desperate stages of the Civil War. But I saw no trace of a dark past aboard. The crew seemed happy and family and welcomed. The crew seemed a happy family and welcomed us into their iron-hulled bosom. Great day for Britain as notorious Indian rebel hangs. Okay. Our cabin while hardly spacious, was adequate to our needs. One of the midshipmen came by to show us how to use the pressure seals in case of submersion, but in all other aspects, I looked forward to a peaceful steamship ocean crossing. I was not to be so lucky. Greetings, Captain. Pastor, what do you want? So I get to San Francisco, right? So from San Francisco, to Las Vegas? Yeah? I've never heard of it. All right, so San Francisco to Salt Lake City? Yes, I knew a man who once took Transcontinental Express from San Francisco to Salt Lake City. Just good chat. there, Captain. Alrighty then. Woo, really good. The saltwater air blew cool and sharp against my face as I opened the door into the top deck. It was painfully early, and the only passengers awake were a group of Chinese laborers, hunched over miserably near the stern. One of their numbers was vomiting copiously into a bucket. I offered him my own secret remedy, which I had brewed up for just an occasion. He swallowed it down with a certain dubious expression, but immediately improved in both complexion and temperament. He thanked me most profusely. 谢谢, I said, using one of the few Mandarin expressions I had picked up on my travels. They laughed uproariously at my pronunciation, but seemed altogether pleased by my attempts to render their thanks in their tongue. Day 60. Monsieur Fogg murmured the night in his sleep. And we're not even halfway. I've forgotten what accent I gave you at the beginning of this, because I've forgotten all accents in general. I accompanied Monsieur Fogg to a game whist with a family of American missionaries who were traveling back to San Francisco for a family wedding. My master began strongly, but Mademoiselle Loretta, the eldest girl, had a sharp eye and won several hands in a row. A new round was dealt. I noticed Mademoiselle Loretta slipped a card into his sleeve. Ooh, I blinked twice in pure astonishment and glanced up at her face, which was utterly calm, betraying nothing of the actions of her nimble fingers. The minister's daughter was cheat, and a skilled one at that. I filed that away in my knowledge for an opportune moment, catching her eye to convey that I had noticed her little sleight of hand. But she blushed with all the manufactured prettiness of an accomplished actress, then raised one eyebrow in silent challenge. Our journey continued on. Converse? I spent the day in the company of Water Lily's submariners. They were all hardy men and women who preferred the dim enclosed spaces of the hold to the top of the deck. Too much sky, one of them said, squinting suspiciously. Their crewmate nodded. All that fresh air. They shuddered collectively and suggested a bracing race to their boiler room. I tried to keep up, but could not quite adjust to the lack of light and continually tripped over my own feet. The commander, a short Japanese-American woman, pronounced me an utter disgrace. I decided to withdraw gracefully, pretending a pressing appointment. Their commander waved me off with the barest of courtesies. They're strange folk. I'm not entirely certain I impressed them favorably. Alright. I was climbing the rigging. As exercise, of course, and not all of the purpose of spying on the crew to appease my own rapacious curiosity, when I heard two of the crewmen arguing in a Pidgin mix of English and Japanese. I peered upwards, eager to match faces and expressions to the voices I could make out. They were both Japanese, but one of them was dressed in Western style, and the other Japanese hanten, and hakama. As I watched, the trouser-wearing sailor grabbed violently at his compatriot, but missed his footing and tumbled over the platform's edge. I was unable to look away as he fell. His body lay still and crumpled upon the deck, but I heard his scream in my head for days. I looked up and saw the sight of the fallen sailor's companion. His face was still, pallid. Was that guilt in his eyes or merely shocked? He slipped away before the captain arrived, and I followed him. He retired at the crew quarters, and I began to hear the sound of desperate muttering prayers. I saw murder. I don't know what to... Wait. Police hunt card shop known as the Reverend's daughter, last seen in Yokohama. Alright, card shop. The Reverend's daughter, huh? Alrighty then. The Water Lily's crew had a funeral for the dead sailor. I was not specifically invited, but I felt a sense of responsibility, having witnessed the man's fatal plunge. Captain Wicker led the Christian service with the customary grimness. I was surprised by the absence of the sailor's companion, who had been arguing with him just before the fall. But he was not the only one missing from the funeral. Oddly, only half the crew had come pay their respects. I asked my neighbor about this breach of custom, and she narrowed her eyes. Joseph was a convert, she told me defiantly. The captain taught him to read the Bible himself. The rest of the crew are heathens. They stay away from our godly ceremonies.
Oh, I forgot. It's this part of the world. I forget it's this part of the time.
Storm, too exhausted to write properly. Entry suffice to say we are still afloat. As we settled down for the night, I was struck by an unrelated thought. Monsieur Fogg, the dateline! I've altered our watch already, Monsieur Fogg replied calmly. Did you think I might forget? My master was, of course, correct. With an eye such as his, it was unthinkable that he might miss such a detail. We had reached the point directly opposite Greenwich. Imagine that. Might have inspired. Imagine what might have transpired had we forgotten. Opposite Greenwich, where the hours we had lost in traveling around the Earth were added back. A whole extra day! Or no, though. We're a third of the way through, and I have no idea how I feel about that. Yesterday's storm hit us with a little warning. One moment I was mending one of my shirts. Careful stitches. The next we were being tossed from one end of the cabin to the other. We were lucky that the bed was securely nailed to the floor. The ship shuddered and moaned. Rain clattered against our iron hull. The ship was shuddered and moaned. As the seas flickered with lightning, the storm lasted nearly 6 hours and blew us far off course. The captain spent more than most of the day peering at his charts, trying to locate our position. There's no land anywhere upon the horizon. No! Oh, man. Greetings, Reverend. Asperto, good day to you. Honolulu. You like Honolulu? Good, right? That's right. Port Moresby? I doubt it. If it answers me this, I find the book of Job most important, don't you? No. The works of Gospels. That wasn't Penny Dreadful, man. I don't. Look, yes, they are. Fun fact, in the book's version, Fogg does forget the dateline and thinks they failed until they make it back to London just in time. This makes me want to read the book again, because I haven't read it since I was a kid. Is it possible to travel from Honolulu to Tabatinga? Let's just say that the most effective way to Tabatinga from here is through Panama City. I honestly have no idea how to look at this map right now, because we're nowhere near anywhere I need to look at. I'm just gonna start clicking on things. Redcurrent Island! Alright. San Francisco. San Pedro. Should have gone for San Pedro. Awful. The captain announced a change of destination. The Water Lily now would make nearby port in Hawaii rather than San Francisco. We would make port in Honolulu in 5 days, and would have to find our way further conveyance from there. Honolulu sounded wonderful to me. Monsieur Fogg's lips pressed ever so slightly together, a rare outward sign of entirely understandable annoyance. This, my master said, will not do. Indeed not, sir. Indeed not, sir. I agreed, not even daring to calculate the delay and expense or unexpected diversion it would cause. Monsieur Fogg gave me a cold, appraising glance. Captain Wicker has reigned upon his word as a gentleman, he said curtly before lowering his voice to an almost furtive undertone. Our course is clear. We must mutiny. No. No, no, no. What natural charm you want me to use? Quite, he said, with the agreeableness of a gentleman who has given his valet a near Herculean task. Ah, golly. I am so destroyed. We will mutiny in 5 days. When we reach Honolulu, make your preparations as you see fit. We really got a mutiny, sir? This is... Oh, gee. Golly, alright. Fogg said to have crossed the date line. But will the extra day be enough? I'm guessing no. I'm probably not going to make it in time. But we'll find out. My task was clear. I was to ferment mutiny aboard the Water Lily. I decided to begin by exploiting the crew's animosity towards one another. Divide and conquer, or so Madame, or Mama, always counseled. Shit. People love to fight over religion, though passions were, by their nature, unpredictable, so I decided to... Oh, no. I am not at all excited about this. Gossip about the captain. Because we said my charm was going to get us through this. Forcibly converted the Shinto crew when we reached port. Some of the younger members seemed alarmed, but the others merely laughed off the possibility. Man, let's not mutiny, man. I really feel like this is a terrible idea. Fogg, valet, dapper. Full report. Alright, that's great. I've learned so much knowing that my character is dapper at the moment. This is going to be terrible. It was with satisfaction that I noted a certain increase in tension aboard the Water Lily, a situation I would carefully have to exacerbate if my master's mutiny was to have success, or any chance of it. Next, I attempted to ingratiate myself with Chinese laborers or Commander Davis and his submariners. It can go very good or very bad. Well, honestly, I'd never expected anything to go perfectly. Who do I have? The Chinese laborers are better. Who are still rather storm-tossed and discombobulated. I managed to convince them to play dice with me, and proceeded to impress them with my skill to win 20 pounds in the process. This, however, did not endear me to them in the least. Like, I'm so sorry, guys. This is... Converse. Greetings, mademoiselle. Passepartout. Why, hello. Alliance, Athens, San Pedro. San Pedro. Monsieur, really, but... You can obtain revolvers in San Pedro, extremely valuable in New Orleans. Tapatinga, London. I don't think so. I see, but I think there's a rub where it comes from there, isn't it? But tell me, I think I will marry a Frenchman. Really? Mademoiselle, a particular one, or any? Oh, any will do, so long as they have their vowels. I don't... San Pedro. To... Las Vegas. Sounds unlikely to me. To Houston? Sure, really, but the quickest way to Houston from here is to go from Acapulco. I had attempted to suborn the obvious targets about the Water Lily, but wars were often won by the unexpected. With that in mind, I turned my attention upon... Oh, man, alright, I'm gonna go with the other valets, because those are my people. Being a gentleman's gentleman myself, I knew the value of a good servant. Conversely, I was also aware of the disruption a bad one could cause. I appealed to them with my... Oh, man. I'm dapper, right? Dapper is acceptable. It's charisma and style. I do say I managed to sham a few crystalline tears at exactly the right moment. It was almost laughably easy to draw them into my cause. The captain and his officers were not, it must be said, popular amongst their servants. What? We have a destructive ship and people aren't getting along? I spent the day putting the last finishing touches to my plan, mutiny. It was a matter as delicate and serious as the creation of a souffle by a master chef. I spread word of my signal amongst my allies, and I stayed up late, ensuring every man and woman on my side was true. Converse. Greetings, Davis. What's your passport? Yes, Honolulu. Pitcairn Islands. Acapulco. Absolutely, my childhood sweetheart had a wonderful time aboard the airship Reina Cristina from Honolulu to Acapulco. That seems like a path I'll take another day. That's definitely a path I'll take another time. Or now? We reached Honolulu in the dark. The captain took a small skiff into the harbor, with a few of his officers wishing to inquire about repairs before putting the Water Lily onto dry dock. Monsieur Fogg watched the boat for a long moment. Now's the time, he said crisply. You sure everything's in order? I assured him it was, and nodded, having expected no other response. Let us hope so. With that, my master retreated to his cabin, and I called a signal to arms! To arms! To arms! The Water Lily erupted into chaos. Everywhere was the clash of sabers and pistols. Now and then I heard the shriek of the officers' sonic weapons, but I was not alone. The half of the crew that followed the Shinto creed fell in behind me, lit with the desire to teach their Christian crewmates a lesson rather than mutiny, but their anger helped stoke the fires of rebellion. The loyal officers found themselves inescapably delayed and thwarted in the efforts to dress and arm to meet the mutiny. The valets and batmen had thrown their loyalty behind my uprising and bought us precious time to establish our control over the ship. The Chinese laborers rewarded my friendship with steadfast loyalty, throwing themselves into the mutiny with all the desperation of men and women who utterly loathed sea travel and longed to revenge themselves upon the instrument of torment in any fashion. They lit the fires and tore up the already ragged sails, causing some welcomed chaos. The submariners did not appear. It seemed they had battened themselves in the hold for the duration of the mutiny, but perhaps that was the best outcome I could have hoped for, given my failure to impress their formidable commander. I saw Mademoiselle Loretta trip up one of the loyal officers. Out of the corner of my eye, she tipped her bonnet in my direction, a gesture of respect from one player of the game to another. Why, thank you, my lady. Why, thank you, why, thank you. The whirl of the battle took me away, but not before I saw her falsify a magnificent feint and block a gangway to the navigation room. By noon, it was clear how the day would end. The mutineers raised a ragged cheer of victory. I myself had ended up with a debonair scratch upon my cheek, and had somehow come into the possession of a brace of pistols and 3 sabers. By the time the captain and the officers were returned, we had completed control of the ship. They were quickly trussed up. I don't know if I'm going to throw them into the brig or return to their skiff. I have no idea what the hell that means. I'm going with the skiff thingy. By the time the captain and officers returned, they returned to their skiff to seek their fortune in Honolulu. Monsieur Fogg emerged, surveying the scene of recent battle with a calm eye. Well done, he said, with a classic gentlemanly understatement. Still, it was well done, if I may say so myself. I did pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Relationships with Fogg strengthened. Oh, and we continue on. Confess! Monsieur Fogg, Passepartout. How is your health? How are you feeling? I am in roaring health. Just make haste, San Francisco. Cheyenne. I know that the quickest way to Cheyenne from here is through Salt Lake City. I'm gonna wait. To my amazement, the successful mutineers held a vote and elected me the new captain of the Water Lily. I tried to refuse to little avail. What did I, Passepartout, knowing of captaining a vessel such as this? Rest assured, mes amis, it was the great part of a ceremony title which made no particular demands on my seamanship. Monsieur Fogg, though pleased by the success of our mutinous endeavor, seemed to regard my elevation in rank with some wariness. I am, he admitted, was well prepared for bed, somewhat put in mind of Bonaparte. Parbleu! Otherwise, the succession passed smoothly, and I acquired Wicker's top hat as a mark of office. I got me a top hat. I got me a top hat. That's so ridiculous. The new first mate, a cheerful girl by the name of Wang, came to me with an intriguing notion. As you know, the Water Lily is a ship-to-submarine prototype, she said. If the submariners cooperated, we would convert the submersible and make port to San Francisco in 2 days rather than 5. I called Commander Davis, the leader of the submariner. She took her time about arriving and regarded me with insolence, which was most impertinent in considering my superior rank. I refuse to aid you, sir, she declared grandly. You may lock me up, torture me, subject me to indignity, but I will not conspire with you. There would be no indignities, I exclaimed in horror. Madam, I ask you, in the spirit of comradeship, will you not help the Water Lily? I will not. With that said, the first mate Wayne looked rather mournful, but offered me a wan smile. Ah, well, we will make San Francisco in 5 days rather than 2. There's no great hardship. I am really surprised I made it. Nice is an understatement. I am kind of astonished by myself right now. Thank you very much, Jared. We spent most of the day repairing the damage done to the ship by the mutiny. First Mate Wang took care of the particulars with an efficiency that I was loath to interfere with. Therefore, I spent my time with Mademoiselle Loretta. At whist with my Mademoiselle Loretta, who waxed lyrical about the grand adventure of our recent mutiny. I feel I have much to learn from you, Captain, she declared, batting her eyelashes in styled coyness. Mysterious French pirate seizes steamer off coast of Honolulu. The Times. I happened upon the first mate Wang, holding hands with Commander Davis at the rail of the boat. I thought it too late. I had no reason to interrupt their moment, so I moved along. I prefer not. Give them the time to themselves. Greetings, Reverend! Passepartout, good day to you. Omaha. I don't know where Burlington is. Sweet. I'm on to Chicago. Chicago to... What's Point Delgado? Yeah, sure, great. Sometimes I think younger people simply do not read scripture anymore. It's Regina. Alright. I'm just choosing random places. Winnipeg! Unfortunately, not the best outcome, because you didn't get to transform the boat into a submarine. Still, at least you're not stranded in Hawaii. Yeah, it's a lot better than being stuck in Hawaii. I will totally accept that. I made a mistake by not following them for the rest of the night and trying to get their attention while we were starting up on our journey. But, you know, we only lost about 3 days. Oh my gosh, it's already day 76. We'll make it in time, but I think we'll save one more leg of the trip once we land. We were making good time to San Francisco and had repaired much of the damage to the Water Lily. I began to feel rather comfortable in my captaincy. I gave serious consideration to the seafaring life after my master and I had completed our round-the-world challenge. In the evening, I spoke to Wang about our onward journey and the Flush Command. I had all but forgotten my master. I spoke to Wang, and she told me some buyers will pay very well for evening jackets in Burlington. An interesting fact that I did not know if it would help or not. It was day 76. We had barely 100 hours remaining to return home. Woo! Woo! Yeah, I'm not gonna make it. Yeah. Which I think is true. It's the love of this game. You get a few times to do a few runs of it and try to find the fastest route. But I'm liking all these mini stories that I'm seeing. It's really cool. We had arrived at San Francisco, 20 days after leaving Yokohama. We had managed not to lose even a single day, despite the obstacles seemingly simpler steamers. Our seemingly simple steamer journey had thrown up. At my urging, First Mate Wayne accepted captaincy. Commander Davis had control of the ship, and it promptly sank beneath the waves after we disembarked. Alright guys, I think I'm going to end it here for today. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been super fun, and I think we're going to finish this playthrough on the next stream next Monday. It'll probably be around 3:30 again, depending on how I remember everything. I've been running around trying to figure out how to run the system, but thank you so much, guys. It's been super fun. Jared, till next time, thanks for keeping me company as I do this run through. Thank you all so much for giving the stream a check out, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you again next Monday.